So a lot of people are putting a negative light on, this Dolton drama, and I'm sick of Dolton. No, y'all sick of Tiffany Henyard. It's a big difference. It's two government bodies. It's one person in control of both government bodies, and that's Tiffany Henyard.
All right. Welcome back to the Crucial Combo podcast. You know, I got my homegirl, your favorite survivor, Vivian, in the building.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you for coming through and joining. It's a lot going on.
Absolutely.
It's like this thing is everywhere, obviously. It's in the news everywhere. I know you've spoken about it on your channel. I listened to your video earlier and just kind of I know you had a detox from all the crazy shit.
Oh my God, I did. Yesterday was just a day of rest and relaxation, just to de-stress. I needed to de-stress from just a lot of the toxic stuff that's really going on right now, and
Yeah.
it's sometimes things can get overwhelming. Right now,
Yeah.
yesterday was one of those days where I just needed to just take a mental break from a lot of reality.
I could see that because, man, the last time we talked, maybe in the last interview or the interview before, we talked about, I think I asked you, like, how violent you thought things could get. Sorry, let me turn that off. And I had asked you, I was like, how violent do you think things could get? And we were talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
And, it looks like the other night,
Yeah,
it was like,
it
what
went
did
up.
we get to? Yeah, it turned up. So, so let's get right into it. Obviously,
Okay.
you were right at the event.
Yep.
So, now I know you have footage and you kind of viewed it. So everybody's seen it, so it's not like I gotta explain it. But
Right.
Jedidiah got up there. He said what he had to say. The Black Cookout Association. There was a whole consensus
Absolutely.
about replacing Tiffany. Now, I want to go back a little bit before the brawl. So obviously, Stephanie Weiderman, she got in as new trustee.
Yes.
And I kind of feel like maybe not for the residents, but I think for the outside world, it kind of got overshadowed by this fight. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
It did.
So Stephanie Weiderman, so
Congratulations, Stephanie. Let me just
yes,
say that first. Congratulations. I was very proud to be able to vote you into that trustee seat. So
hmm
we are grateful for all of the change that you have made so far. So thank you. Okay, go ahead.
give people some no for sure, and I'm glad you said that. Give some people the background.
She worked for the township. So when
Okay,
Henyard originally came in, Henyard fired Stephanie along with the other people. So remember when we were talking about the surplus that she has?
yeah,
Well, her surplus, a lot of it came from vacant staff seats that Henyard hadn't replaced yet. So when she originally came into office, she fired a whole bunch of tenured people. And all of those people had high pay grade of salary because they've been there for so many years. Some of those people were there, they was almost about to retire, and she let them go. So just imagine the compensation that they were making, and then she came in and cleaned house.
okay.
So Stephanie was part of that first round of sweeps when Tiffany Henyard came in, cleaned house, and started hiring her own people.
Got you. And then Stephanie was out pretty much from the beginning of when she
Yes,
became
and
the
she was in the
supervisor.
with the township for like 20 years, I want to say.
Wow.
Yeah, so she did a lot. She was with Frank Zuccarelli for most of his term. So
Okay.
while he was the supervisor, she worked with Frank Zuccarelli.
Okay. And there was an understanding. What I'm assuming is that Stephanie, she kind of caught on early on that Tiffany probably was not going to be good for the township, obviously.
Absolutely,
And
he's the one that actually was able to go to the media and show them the financial reports from when Tiffany came into office and how she just started spending right away. So she
okay.
was able to show the news crews like exactly what Tiffany was doing inside of the township, which, let me just back it up. We let them know prior to, hey, she's not good for that role. Y'all don't want her in that supervisor seat because what she's doing to Dolton. But nobody listened. Nobody listened. And so they went ahead and voted her in. And when what they appointed her, they didn't vote her in. She got appointed because if it was up to the resident, she would have never got that seat.
Yeah. And it was like a last minute appointment for her when
Yeah.
she got in.
And they were trying to say that the way it was done wasn't completely valid, but it doesn't matter now because it's the end of her term.
Right.
So,
it's all in the rearview mirror now. So
absolutely.
So with Stephanie getting in as trustee now, give me some clarification or other people who don't understand. Like, I know that there was a seat up, and Tiffany, well, she was trying to get someone else in that seat, right?
Right. Jerry
before that.
Jones. Jerry
Okay.
Jones' seat was up due to him resigning. I don't know if you paid attention to the meeting, but when Carmen Carlisle was giving like a congratulatory speech, it was for Jerry Jones. So she was just thanking him for his service in the township for the amount of years that he actually helped serve Thornton Township.
Okay.
His resignation, according to his paperwork, was due to health issues. So he resigned. And it's a very toxic environment. I don't blame him for actually resigning because it's hard to work under leadership that's a dictatorship.
Right.
If that makes sense. So
yeah, absolutely. Now when he left,
mm-hmm.
there was an open seat. How long was that seat vacant?
That seat was vacant, I want to say, since October.
Okay.
So he left around October-ish.
Okay.
And after he left in October, that's when she should have had the trustees to validate his resignation, and then she would have had a chance to actually appoint someone. But she didn't do it in the proper manner. So that's why she lost her ability to appoint someone, because she always want to educate someone else, but the things that she do is completely wrong. Mm-hmm. So therefore, it's like talking to a child trying to tell an adult what to do. Mm-hmm. You have to do things the proper way when it comes to government, especially when it comes to roles like in a township, because there's a process, there's ordinances, there's rules and regulations, the Illinois codes that you have to abide by. And that's something that she just felt like she could do what she wanted to do. And it didn't work out for her.
Okay. And how did Stephanie end up becoming appointed? How was that process? How did she get in? Because I know Tiffany was against it. So was it a matter of Chris and Carmen voting?
No, what happened was after the 60 days expired for Tiffany to be able to appoint someone, due to Chris and Carmen not allowing her, I'm not going to say not allowing her, but they didn't show up to the meetings when it was within her appointment era. So she lost the capability to be able to appoint someone. She was supposed to do it within that 60 days of when they got the resignation letter. Now, when they got the resignation letter, it was broadcasted at a township meeting. So it's not like it wasn't spoke on, it wasn't discussed. It was actually discussed at a township meeting. So therefore, she had time to go out and do things the right way. But if you know Tiffany Henyard, she does things her way. And her way is not the legal way all the time. So when you do things your way and you're not following proper protocol, then you get things like Stephanie Wiedemann being allowed to be voted in. So the way that she got voted in was due to Henyard's error. And we wrote letters to the clerk and asked the clerk, can she set it up so we can do electoral kind of something like the caucus. Remember how the caucus was, but they actually, the clerk, and I have had zero faith in her. I'm just gonna be very honest. I don't trust her because I feel like she's Team Tiffany. I know that that comes with being so close to her, but she actually did the right thing. So kudos to Clerk Wells. She actually took our advice into consideration, advising her that we are supposed to get this vote after 60 days. So she set up the caucus like atmosphere. I'm gonna call it a caucus, and she was able to send out the communications correctly, get the lawyers on board, get the judges on board, and we was able to actually to be able to vote her in. So we had her as a nominee. They had Dana Cook, and then the Rayburn guy. He, the one that's running for trustee. He voted himself in. So it was Stephanie won at least by 82%. Let me say that.
Okay. And this was caucus by 82. That's an interesting number. 82%.
Right, because that's the number Tiffany always used. I won by a landslide. Well, Stephanie won by a landslide, at least 82%.
Now,
So
was
therefore,
it people voting? The people voted her in
yes,
the
I don't know if you saw my live when we were there, but we had electoral paddles.
Got
So
it.
we had a someone that was elected as he was the guy that counted the votes, basically. So he was the one that was supposed to be fair and make sure that all votes are entered in and counted. Because we did have, like I said, 2 other people that were nominated as well. So you got to take into consideration that we were voting against 3 people total. So we had to have someone that was also, not part of the process, that their vote didn't count, but they were able to make sure that they accurately entered in the number of people that voted for each candidate.
Got it. Okay. And that kind of sets up. That's why I want to go through that because I feel like her getting into being a trustee was a big deal for the
Right.
residents, and it a lot of it got overshadowed by what happened overnight.
All of it
People
got
not aware, and
overshadowed.
they don't understand
Oh,
now. So Stephanie's now trustee, which is a big deal.
yes.
And when she got in, let's go to the other night. Obviously, so the other night, this was Stephanie's first official
Yes.
board meeting as a trustee.
Yes.
So I did notice. I watched it like a lot of people throughout the meeting. Before the fight started, Tiffany was throwing some jabs, and she
Oh
was,
my God.
you
Major
know,
shade. Major shade. You
yeah,
are talking about this lady as if she does not have more experience within the township than Tiffany does. Stephanie actually worked there for 20 plus years. So
hmm
it doesn't matter her level of education. Listen, I was a hiring manager for years before I got sick. And what people don't understand is most of the time, when you have an employee with a long history versus an employee with a certain educational background, that person that's been in that role for 20 plus years is going to have the advantage over somebody that just have a good degree from a certain prestigious place or whatever, because they have
absolutely.
that experience and they have that knowledge of that organization because they've been there for so long. So
hmm
again, Tiffany Henyard didn't work inside of the township. She came in and fired all of the people that would have been beneficial to her. So Stephanie was one of the people that would have been beneficial to Tiffany and the township. But instead of her coming in and doing the right thing, she came in, fired everybody. Then you want to throw shade at meetings because she got what Tiffany's mad about is, like Stephanie told her, I'm sitting at the same seat as you and you don't like it. And that's
Yeah,
the truth. That is
yeah,
the absolute truth. She's sitting at the same seat and she was actually voted in. We didn't
right,
vote for her.
right,
Not nobody voted for Tiffany for that supervisor seat, but the trustees and the clerk.
right.
We, the residents, was left out of that process, but we were able to cast our vote and we voted for who we thought would make change, and that was Stephanie Wiederman. So,
Absolutely.
so that's where the shade was coming from because Tiffany is jealous of Stephanie. I'll say it. She's
Well,
jealous of a
let me
lot of
ask you.
people that have more common sense than her.
Well, let
It,
me. I peeped something too. So, and I don't know if people caught this too. So one of the things that they voted on, if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, was to suspend Kamal and
yeah.
William Moore from their
So they
position in the
voted to,
township.
yes, they put them both on administrative leave. Very good question.
Okay.
They put them both on administrative leave with pay.
hmm
Now, normally, and this is just my HR brain, like running circles around it. I don't know what the discussion was in that executive session. The reasons why they voted to put them on administrative leave. If I had to guess, it would be because they can't prove the work that they've been doing in the township. Also, they've been riding around with Tiffany all the time. So if you're riding around with the supervisor all the time, when are you actually in the building doing your job?
Right.
Kamal Woods, I have a copy of the actual grant where he was being paid out of. And for the amount of money that we have been paying him, why aren't we seeing anything when it comes to youth programs inside of the township? That's because Kamal Woods is not, when I say he's not qualified to be a youth director.
Well, let me stop you there too. I don't want to stop you, but I want to, just for people who don't know,
Mm-hmm.
Kamal Woods is Tiffany Henyard's boyfriend,
Absolutely. Married
and
boyfriend.
well, married boyfriend, and she gave him a job as youth director for Thornton Township.
Making
When
over
did she get,
100,000 a year.
and he makes over six figures to do that
Yes.
as a youth director.
Yes.
That's a man. Wow. I mean,
And
I
what programs have you put in place? What programs do Kamal Woods have?
a lot
None.
of youth directors don't make that much, but
No.
when was he appointed that? When did she give him that job? Essentially, when
When
did
they
it?
started messing around, I'm guessing. But it's probably
As
as soon as she got in the township.
soon as she got in. Okay,
Yeah. As
so
soon as she got in, she
let's
hired all her people.
got you. Of course, and that's pretty obvious. Now the way she set things up. So let's talk about Kamal. So she gives him the job as youth coordinator or youth director. He's supposed to be setting up youth programs and stuff like that, and
Mm-hmm.
he's getting six figures.
Remember that concert when they did that one with what was his name? G Herbo, and had all the
Yeah.
people come to
Yep.
Dolton at the senior citizen building.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the products of what he did. Number one, they overspent on the people that were performing. Number two, nobody showed up.
Mm,
Nobody showed up. And then number three, you guys, they were just wasting money trying to spend money to show that they're really doing something positive. And they thought that, oh, well, let me get these acts lined up. I know we're going to bring out the people, and then everybody going to be happy that, we did something. But they probably had less than 100 people that showed up, and you had major acts. That goes to tell you that whatever he's doing is not positive within the community. And it's not
right.
kids, it's nobody really that want to be a part of what they're doing within a township, because everybody knows that it's all corrupt.
And so there's really no reflection of any youth program since he's been appointed that job.
No.
Now, William Moore, the other person who was put on administrative leave, what was his job? What was he supposed to be doing?
Kissing Tiffany ass.
Full time ass kisser. Was that
I'm
his official
sorry,
job
but
title?
he treat her like she is his queen. William Moore's wife. I just want to know, sis, how do you allow your husband to do all of this stuff for this lady, and that's your husband? I don't get it. Like, my husband could never risk his freedom for somebody and do all of this stuff for her and run up underneath her for what? A check?
Well, does he have an official job title?
He's her some type of administrative assistant is his is his capacity that he's working under as. So he's
Okay,
like a personal assistant to her, I guess. Him and
gotcha.
his wife. They
Okay,
both are like assistants to Tiffany.
I see. Okay,
Yeah,
so he's been
so his
suspended
role
now.
is to irritate the residents, to turn off our mics, to film us when we don't want to be filmed. Because
Hmm.
if you're at a job and you're in your role, you're not supposed to be filming people that are against the mayor. Because what are you doing with all that footage?
Yeah.
You're getting paid. You're on the clock. So why are you out here filming us when you're on the clock? I didn't give you, like with the township, I didn't give you permission to film me, because
Yeah.
you're supposed to have permission to be able to film. Because what are you doing with that video?
Hmm.
Going home let me shut up. But yeah, I was
Listen,
going with that.
it's gotten that bad. So so I wanted to set the framing so people could understand. So a lot was going on. Stephanie gets in, which
Yes.
Tiffany does not like Stephanie Wiedemann. She becomes a trustee, sitting
Mm-hmm.
at the same table, is able to vote on things and able to turn the township, or at least keep the township from going in the wrong direction.
Absolutely.
Chris Gonzalez obviously is not down with her, and then Carmen Carlisle is obviously still, you know,
Mm-hmm.
not with it either. So
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie's in there now. They voted at this particular meeting to put Kamal Woods and William Moore on administrative paid leave,
Yeah.
right? Now, some people weren't happy about the paid leave from what I saw.
No.
Like
No.
some residents weren't happy about that in and of
With
itself.
the paid leave, I kind of get it. Like I was saying, going to my HR break, I kind of get it because going into a meeting when you don't have what you need to directly say, hey, this employee didn't do this, and that. Then if you go ahead and you terminate somebody and you don't have just cause on why you did it, then that is setting you up for a lawsuit.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you have to make sure that while he's on paid leave, you are getting your ducks in a row to say, hey, sir, okay, we need you to come in. We need to talk. We need you to discuss. I'm going to show you this, and that. And then that's when he can actually lose his position. But that's the reason why I think that they put them on paid leave, because they have to still show just cause on why we need to actually separate them from the township. That's just my opinion. So
Well,
I
I'm so
get it.
glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that because I kind of feel the same way. I thought that it was actually the smarter move rather than
Yeah.
doing something kind of like knee jerk reaction type of thing.
Yeah,
It makes a
because
lot of
even though
sense.
we don't like them, we can't really say that they're not doing stuff until they investigate what they are or aren't doing. If they got to investigate if they've been clocking in and clocking out, they have to, a lot of stuff they have to compile in order to be able to terminate somebody the legal way. And they're doing
Right.
things not the Tiffany way. So this makes sense. Remember when she came in, she just fired everybody. That's why
Right.
she had lawsuits. That's why she was like, well, this is going to be a lawsuit. It's not a lawsuit because the way that they did it was the right way. So they can't go ahead and say that, oh, I'm suing because they put me on administrative leave. No, you can't, because you got on administrative leave with pay.
And
So
she's calling it political retribution,
retaliation.
or retaliation, right?
Absolutely.
So that kind of sets the tone for now. Let's get to the brawl, right? The quote unquote brawl. So that kind of sets the tone. That you could feel that the tension was already there,
Absolutely.
and she was already mad. And okay,
Mm-hmm.
so let's get to Jedidiah, right? So
Right.
Jedidiah and I know y'all haven't been necessarily seeing eye to eye
It's
in the,
okay. I'm
but
not even going
that's
to discuss it because
it's
I don't.
neither here nor there. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right. I
But
was there. He was there. We are. I think we have an unspoken agreement that I respect your space, you respect my space. So yes, he
100%.
was there. And what I saw, let me tell you what I saw.
Please go ahead. Please.
And I even saw this before he got up and spoke. Him and DeMarcus Quigley was having a heated discussion in the back.
Jedidiah and
Yes,
Jamarcus Quigley. Okay.
yes. If you pay attention to my video, because when I had the camera facing everybody else, you could see them. So that's why he got up and he was like, "Oh, sorry, y'all, I was a little distracted." They were having a heated conversation already.
And DeMarcus Quigley, for people who don't know, he was the one standing on the table.
Yeah, he was the one that beat the TV up.
Who,
I know I need to grow up.
okay,
I'm
okay.
sorry. But yeah,
I gotta put a bit of bump right there. Yeah. He was up on the table
I'm
trying to
sorry.
he beat the TV up. I didn't think of it like that, but that's what it looked like though. That
I
TV
did.
got his ass whooped.
Talking about he was up there doing kung fu. No, the fuck he wasn't. Excuse me.
Hold on. Let me hold on before you even. I want to get to the kung fu because I got a question
Because
about.
he was kicking.
Let me hold, let me frame this real quick though before we get to the kung fu or whatever was going on. You know, before we get to the Danielson part. So Jedediah and DeMarcus quickly having a conversation. Now, before I get to the comment, Jedediah's comment, was there more happening back there?
No, I think that Kamal Woods was just on. He was on standby. He was on alert. He
Okay.
know. So the thing about when Jedidiah came in, remember the guy with the black jogging suit with the gray stripes?
Yeah,
That's
that's
Tiffany's ex.
okay. Wait, now
So
is
that's
that look?
Lavelle Redmond.
Okay, so this is the thing I wanted to understand because I
So
want to tell
Tiffany was
you.
already uncomfortable. Let me just set the scene. She was
Please go.
already very uncomfortable because Lavelle and Jed sat next to each other. So to know their history is to know that she is fearful of Lavelle.
So wait a minute. A lot of people don't
Yes,
even know this stuff. So
no,
I want to set this up for people who don't understand because you're in the inner, so you
yeah,
get it. So
I
for
get
people who
it.
don't understand, when you watch that video, you have. Well, before we get to
Okay,
that, let me get to Jedidiah's comments first. Let
got
me
you.
get to the Black Cookout Association
Yes,
dialogue or whatever you want to call it.
right,
So when he gets up there to make his comments. Now, I don't know if Jed had it pre-planned, but that was a heck of a reply to because it seemed like Jed was really tight about, especially how Tiffany had disrespected Stephanie
right.
in regards to saying she didn't graduate from high school and blah blah blah.
Mhm.
So
I think he probably in the moment put it together because
yes, it seemed
sometimes
that
when you're
way.
at meetings, you see stuff and then you're like, oh, let me speak on this. Oh, let me speak on this. And I'm sure everybody that knows Stephanie have heard about her accolades and the things that she have done within
Sure,
the township. So it's not hard to to research her a little bit and put together her accolades and what she have done for the community.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so once he gets up there, it seemed like I was like, wow. Whatever he put together, it kind of seemed like he had it put together well
Yeah.
before, but it also seemed like something that came up on the spot. Because how could he predict that Tiffany was going to disrespect her? So it
That's
was
why I said he
interesting.
probably put it together while that was happening.
Yeah,
And there's plenty of people that can give us information on what's going on with our trustees and everything else that we can just, speak on.
right.
And I think that I'm sure he, like I said, he probably know about Stephanie and her accomplishments and what she's been through, and he probably just spoke on it and just to make sure, sometimes you just do a little Google to make
Yeah.
sure you got all of the facts in line, so I can read you just like you trying to read her.
Okay, of course. And I think he did a heck of a job up
He
there as
did.
far as just coming right back. Now, I'll ask you what you think about because there's a lot of controversy about what he said, all that stuff. But I don't want to get there yet. I want to go to the brawl in and of itself.
Okay.
So he says what he says. Obviously, he brings up some sensitive topics within that whole conversation. People who saw it. And then obviously, when he gets ready to walk after he's done making his comment, then Jamal says something to. Excuse me, I always call him Jamal. Kamal says,
Leotis.
it's so funny. I Somebody had corrected me online because I had did a reaction video on it the other night. They were like, his name is Kamal, not Jamal. It's like my bad, somebody's tight about
Or
that. But
Leotis. Call him Leotis. Cigarette break.
Leo, who's Leotis?
That's
Called
his middle name. That's what Cooking with
oh,
Frank call him.
Leo. No
Oh
comment. No
my
comment.
God. No commented.
Let
Just
me go
call him
to the
Leo.
video. Let me go to the video. This thing has gone everywhere. When I
Absolutely.
say, I was doing a live at the
It was on
time.
TMZ today.
I know I
The
saw it.
Breakfast Club today.
Breakfast Club. Yeah, yeah.
It's been viral.
Viral. You got that right. I mean, it was everywhere. So I know I caught my live. I was filming it at the time, and I was, or I probably hopped in right around the time it happened. But anyway, point being is that so the fight happens.
Mm-hmm.
So now I want to get into the people who are involved in it. So as Jed, he says what he needs to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, he says what he needs to say, calls it a B word, obviously, and
Mm-hmm.
that was the thing that kind of seems like set Kamal off ready to fight. So at this
Right.
point, it turns around, and you're sitting in the front.
Right. I'm sitting like actually in the middle of the row, the middle of the aisle. But yeah, I'm in the front row.
So let
'Cause
me
I
go
was on
back
my
for a
walker.
second. I'm going to go back real quick, right before the fight starts. So as he goes back, the gentleman you were talking about, Lavelle. So that's
Right
him right
there.
there in the sweatsuit, right?
Yeah. I think he was yielding his time to Lavelle for Lavelle to say something. If I was to assume and be correct, that's when he said, I'm not going to yield my time. And I think Lavelle was going to get on the mic because if you see, he used his two fingers and like pushed the mic down because Kamal
Got
said
it.
something out of pocket.
Okay. Now, what was weird is that initially I couldn't tell if Lavelle was I couldn't tell whose side he was on. I didn't know if he was fighting
He
Jedidiah
was definitely
initially
with
or
Jedidiah.
so after the fight he was going off. He was really tight. So
They stole his phone.
They stole his phone?
Yep.
Oh wow. So
DeMarcus and William Moore.
so at this point they all going at there's Crigley up there with the
Fighting the
TV
TV.
and Tiffany. I didn't realize Tiffany had jumped in the fight either until later.
Absolutely. I didn't
And that's
realize it until because she ran past so fast.
she was like the Flash. There was somebody
I
who
swear to God, she has to be on track because
listen. There was somebody who broke down the footage later in slow motion, and they showed how she came in. Because if you watch it in regular speed, it's like a
Mm-hmm.
flash.
Yep.
Everybody else you could pick up, but
All
her
you see is the blonde wig. I mean,
light
the
speed,
orange wig, whatever.
light
Like,
speed.
seriously.
So it looks like all of them get into it, and so the question I had is that Lavelle,
Mm-hmm.
Lavelle, what's his first last name?
Redmond.
Lavelle Redmond. So Lavelle Redmond is Tiffany Henyard's ex.
Yes. He was the co-enforcement for Dolton. Remember when he around the time he got out, he was messing with Tiffany, and she hired him as code enforcement. Now, when she hired him as code enforcement, she have a practice of not running background checks. So with her not running background checks, she tried to pull a fast one over everybody else's eyes and say, "Well, oh, I didn't know that he had this background and blah blah this," but that was not true. She knew Lavelle prior to, and she knew about his record. Put it that way.
Okay.
So it was just irritating to see her always lie her way out of things and not be held accountable for it. So she definitely knew his background. She hired him as code enforcement, and then with all of the scrutiny that Dolton gave her, she had wound up letting him go. So he have an
Okay.
active lawsuit with the village of Dolton right now.
So just for clarity, was that prior to her being with Kamal?
Yes.
Okay.
As soon as her and Lavelle broke up, then that's, I believe, when she started her rendezvous with Kamal Woods.
Okay. Now I typically don't even like to get into her personal business, quote unquote, but a lot of residents, had said that. So for instance, I had made a comment on another video where I was like, I don't really care about her personal business, or I don't
Mm-hmm.
think her personal business is relevant. But a lot of people had commented and said, you know what, it's not so much about her personal business, but there's a reason why people
Yeah,
bring it up. So I kind of
because
understand that.
you're hiring all of your boyfriends and you're keeping them by your side for the most part, and instead of them actually coming in and doing a job, you're just giving them a job because they're sleeping with you. That's a problem because none of them are qualified for the positions that you give them.
Right.
And instead of you hiring qualified people that are in the actual township or that live within the village of Dolton, you are hiring people that you are building your alliance with. And that's not how government's supposed to work.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's definitely not. I mean, and that does give a lot of context. I don't even think a lot of people outside of this, a lot of people who are watching this don't understand those dynamics of the people that are around her. I mean, most of the news, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Kamal, it seems like he's just now kind of getting into the news um with this situation, but prior to that, I mean, people don't really, they of course Keith Friedman and some other people and obviously the trustees have been on the news, but people don't understand those things. So when I saw
Mm-hmm.
Lavelle, I initially when I saw him, I was like, is who is he fighting for? I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
But then I kind of figured it out later. So that being said, let's go back to Jedidiah's the Black Cookout Association comment. So there's a big debate right now, where a lot of people are like, most people that I see the consensus, especially people in and around Dalton and Southland, are like they don't have any type of remorse for what he said. They think
Mm-hmm.
it was rightly deserved as far as calling her talking about things. Um, and then there's a lot of people who are like, you know what, I don't think he should have went there, and it kind of just took it to a certain
You
place.
know what? My opinion and my thoughts is that he called me one like 2 weeks ago, probably, and I know that I didn't deserve it. He was trying to discredit me as a resident, and I didn't deserve that. And instead of him coming out and being remorseful, apologizing, the text message he sent me was basically "F me." But I moved past it. Did it hurt? Absolutely, that hurt my feelings because I know that I'm not that word. If that makes sense to you.
Absolutely.
So I just say that it's not surprising that he said it because she's not the first person that he's called out of their names, and
Mm-hmm.
he has called other women or the females that word. So it's not surprising to me that he used that word. Do I think it was right? No, I wouldn't get up there and call her that. And I despise her.
Right.
I would
I
have said everything else he said, but I wouldn't have called her that
yeah.
because I know that those are fighting words.
Right.
When
Right.
you call somebody out of their name, the B word, those are fighting words. And you got to be able to be ready to do what you need to do because most people are not about to allow you to just keep calling them out of their name in their face, especially if they got a significant other that's sitting there watching you disrespect their woman. That
Yeah.
happens. I mean, was he right? Was he wrong? He The thing about him doing it is the reason why I'm not mad because he got out of character. You got to understand that sometimes you got to go to those type of lengths to get somebody to do something that they normally would not do. So we can really truly see the type of hood rat she really is. So for that one, like I call her a hood rat because that's the behavior she displayed.
Mm-hmm.
She ran out and got on a pile of men to fight. Most women, I'm not gonna do that. If I know my guys got that, I'm not gonna jump in no men fight. Y'all gonna knock me out. Like for real, for real.
Right. Right. Right.
I'm
Exactly.
not about to do that. Especially when you got security guards and you got your guy and his other friends. Unless you already know that Lavelle was gonna hurt your guy. That's why she went and jumped in that pile. It was because she was trying to protect him.
Based on yeah, I mean, honestly, as a man, I'll be honest with you. Based on the angles that I saw, Lavelle looked like he got more squabbles than Kamal. I ain't
Absolutely.
gonna lie to you. He got some
Absolutely.
squabbles.
Kamal bent over a lot, and then his pants were so tight. I was like, please stop. I need to grow up. I know.
You know what? But
But they was tight. Sorry. You don't have to edit that out. They was very tight.
no, it is what it is. I mean, it ain't what anybody. It ain't. I'm sure other people would have observed that too. But you know, this ain't the '90s no more. Where we
No.
wear our pants baggy. You know what I'm saying?
No. I don't
But
get the tight jeans for the guys, but to each his own. To each his
but
own.
but you know what? You touched on something. So I'm not trying to pass judgment either. I could see from both angles, and I read a lot of the comments and saw a lot of the consensus. And like I
Mm-hmm.
said, most of it wasn't really like feeling bad for Tiffany, but then there were people who did say. I kind of thought about the same way. I'm like, well, if I get up there and I'm going to call her a B,
Mm-hmm.
even if her guy doesn't want to fight me, he gots to fight me.
Absolutely.
You dig what I'm saying? Like if someone
Absolutely.
calls my wife a bitch in front
In
of my
front of you.
face,
It's
and and
on.
now- and not on top of that, now
Mm-hmm.
I didn't talk about your child.
Yep.
I didn't talk about the fact you ain't never gonna be married. Um, and I
Yeah.
think those were kind of the sharpest thing. Like
He
what people
completely
think I don't
insulted
touch.
her, which was probably a lot of it was true.
A
But
lot of it is true. And again, I'm
But
not
when you
passing
add
judgment.
that B word on top of it, that
Yeah,
sends
that was
people
like the
over. Because you
that's
can
like the
talk about
icing.
me, you can talk about my disability, you can talk about how you think I'm ugly, but don't call me out my name. That's totally different. Like when
It's
you
yes.
call somebody out their name, that's fighting words. I don't care about you talking about me because some of the things I can already show other people that it is what it is. I'm not about to try and prove myself. But when you
Yeah.
call me out my name to something that's unwarranted, those are fighting words
Well,
anywhere
two
in America.
things. Two things. If I talk about your child, because that's
Absolutely.
something I don't really play that either. You know, you
I
can't
don't
talk
play.
about my
Don't talk
kids.
about my kids.
Yeah,
Don't bring my kids. Kids are off limits.
kids are off limits. Don't bring up
Kids are
kids.
off limits.
So
Unless
those were
you
the only.
saying something good about my kids, don't bring my kids up.
That was the only cringy thing to me. You know what I'm saying? Again, you know, and I'm just saying from outside
Mm-hmm.
point of view, it was a little cringy to hear about anybody's child. I ain't bringing nobody's kid up. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So the kid and then calling her a B, I think.
Yep.
So I guess I bring that up to say that I wonder if Jed was expecting a fight to happen, or because I think
I
you
think
know.
so. I think that this environment has been toxic for so long. And like I said, remember him and DeMarcus was having a little combative issue in the back already, right before he got up to speak.
Hmm.
So from what I was told, and I didn't go and actually watch the video to see. Oh my leg. Whew, I gotta start my therapy soon. Tiffany gave Kamal the go ahead to kick it off. That's why Kamal came walking up on him.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
remember, he was sitting in that chair and he was listening until Jed called her the B word.
yeah,
Then once he called her the B word, it just went up after that because she
yeah,
was like, "Oh no, get him." And then when
yeah.
she said that, remember, uh, Lavelle was standing right there, and he was trying to break it up because he was
Right,
trying not to get them to not fight. So
right.
kudos to that part because he did try and stop it. But Kamal pushed Lavelle. When Kamal pushed Lavelle, mind you, they don't like each other. They
Yeah.
they both mess with Henyard. So of course they're not friends. So with him pushing him and he trying to stop the fight, he like I'm sure he was thinking like, why the fuck this dude just push me?
That's it's funny you say that because when I saw the footage, that's when something that that's when I kind of realized because I didn't know who Lavelle was, but when I
Mm-hmm.
watched the footage slowly, I did see him try to break it up, and then Kamal pushed him, and Lavelle took off on him.
Yeah, because remember DeMarcus was right behind Kamal.
Right,
And DeMarcus called himself, I guess, pulling Kamal back while Kamal was pushing Lavelle. And then Lavelle was trying to stop Jed, but then
right,
Lavelle stopped and he was like, wait a minute, did this dude just push me? And then that's
right,
when he reacted. Because remember, he just
right.
started like
Yeah,
swinging.
yeah. No,
So, yeah.
it definitely it's been something like a powder keg, as they say.
Yep.
It seemed like it was gonna go off sooner or later, but I think that Jed had to expect something physical once he said
Yeah.
those words because I just don't see a situation where you're gonna say all that stuff and then it just nothing
No.
happens. You
But
know what I'm
but
saying?
but you know what? With her being in leadership, and I'm gonna defend Jed on this one,
Mm-hmm.
you're supposed to be able to take it. You are supposed to be able to take all of the public scrutiny that people throw out to you. You shouldn't be mayor or supervisor if you don't want people showing up to your house. You should do the right thing. You should have actually did right by Fania and actually instill an investigation to see what happened between her and Andrew Holmes. It wouldn't even be this bad if she would just do the right thing. So again, I don't like that he called her out of her name, but I don't blame him for saying what he said to incite what he did because as a public official, she should have never pushed that desk away and ran out there and kicked her heels off to jump into a man's fight. She should have
I'm,
never did that.
I'm glad you said that too because that's the larger part of the conversation, and this is so interesting, and that's why I wanted to go over this part with you because there is an argument like we just finished talking about the side of saying, yo, it's kind of cringy to bring up people's family, call someone a
Mm-hmm.
bitch, and all that stuff. But at the same time, you're right. If you're a public official, and also too, let me back up. At the end of the day, I'm not judging. I actually think that Jedidiah, he said what he said. I personally wouldn't have handled it like that. I wouldn't have said that. However, he didn't actually start the fight. So I think that's important to
No,
put
he
in
didn't.
context.
He walked away and they were coming for him.
Right.
So he was going back to his seat. And remember, everybody was saying he was walking towards Tiffany. No, he was in the second row. He was
Right.
to the right of me in the second row, him and Lavelle. He yielded his time to Lavelle because Lavelle was about to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't going like the news say. Well, he was walking towards Tiffany. No, he was not. He wasn't gonna
Right.
go up there and attack her. He was
Yeah.
gonna go sit his ass back down.
Yeah.
And what happened was she sicked her dogs like she always do on us residents, and she did that to him, and she did that to Lavelle.
And this is, I'm glad you said that too, because this is where I think the biggest mistake. This is the biggest mistake for her, because this is the crash out of all crash outs at this
The
point, right?
biggest.
I mean, it's viral now. I mean,
It's so viral.
we know the last time we talked, and I'm going to get to Lori Lightfoot's report too, because I want to talk about that. But
Okay.
the last time we talked, or maybe 2 times ago we talked, I was like, how bad could it get? I didn't think it could get any worse, because this story is on its last chapter, really.
On
You
his
know what I'm saying?
last chapter, on his
But
last meetings, everything.
just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, and she
It got
couldn't get
the
more on the
worst.
radar, she, like you said, she's viral everywhere. Now, Kamal, as the boyfriend, now I'm going to look at the other side of it, playing devil's advocate. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm the boyfriend, right now, if I was Jed, I wouldn't have said that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I was the boyfriend, me personally, at being a grown man, now I don't know what I would have done at 21, 22, 24
Right.
years old, right? But any man of a certain age, after you're over your 30s, or especially into your 40s, all these people are into their 40s. Me, I would look at it like the way you said. Of course, it's not comfortable to hear someone talk to your woman like that.
Mm-hmm.
However, like you said, this is politics. This is a
Yep.
public office, and
And he
you're
was
going.
at work. Let's put that part into play. He was at work. So this is your job. This is not like you're a part of the audience and you can get up and whoop some ass. This is your job that you just got put on administrative leave with pay. So add that in.
Yo, listen. Look, you even saying that really helps me, because you know what? It's funny you said that, because it's almost like I almost forgot that he is an employee
Yes.
based on that energy. I forgot. You
And
know what
then
I'm saying?
William
Because
Moore, who both jumped into the fight.
you
Mm-hmm.
would think that they're just in the crowd. So you're so right. And I think that was the major mistake for her, because she, Tiffany, she's going to be able to take it. I think she would have, was obviously tight. She had her head down and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever Jed set that crescendo of bitch and all that,
Mm-hmm.
she signaled to him, and then Kamal went ahead and got up, and he should have had the control to
Yep.
understand what he was doing. Because yes, you want to defend your woman, but you've now I don't know how hot the block could get. It couldn't get any hotter
No.
now. It's the crash out of crash out. So he should have been able to control himself, and I think that was a major major mistake, because
Yep.
now people
Now
are
we
going
can
to be,
fire his ass.
yeah.
I'm so happy.
Well, you were saying they needed a
Proof?
reason to. I guess now
Yeah,
they have their reason, right?
absolutely. There's no way that they don't have a reason not to terminate him and William Moore based off of this brawl, because this brawl was enhanced by Kamal Woods. He did that. He started it. Jed was walking back to his seat. Lavelle was about to speak. You see, he put the microphone down with his 2 fingers. He
Mm-hmm.
turned around because they was talking shit in the background. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why he went that way. And then Jed heard it, and that's why Jed walked back.
Right.
And then even so, remember, Lavelle was pushing Jed away, like, no, go ahead, go. This
Yeah.
is
Chill.
cool.
Chill. Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
then DeMarcus holding Leotis, he pushed. Leotis pushed Lavelle. And it took Lavelle like a second. If you see, he thought about it before he just started swinging. He like,
Yeah.
did this dude just push me? Like, that's how it went down. So kudos to both of them, because they were able to get all of them clowns out of character. And therefore, now Kamal Woods has to be fired.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that dude should keep his job and get another paycheck off of our tax dollars, because you're fighting at an official board of trustees meeting for government. You
Right.
caused that fight. All
Yeah.
this stuff went viral and everybody blaming Jedidiah. What he said, it cut deep. That does not give you the right. Words don't supposed to hurt. If he didn't touch you, you're not supposed to touch him. People got to understand that just because somebody say something don't mean you always have to react. Sometimes you just got to be better than that and just move on and stay in your own lane.
Especially if you hold in public office, you gotta
Absolutely.
take those
You got to
words.
take those L's.
You
You
gotta
got
take
to
those
take them.
L's. You gotta hold those L's, and that, I think, that is the real. That's just the truth when you cut it all. When you boil it all down, that's the actual truth of the
Yep.
matter, because a lot of people are the people who are looking at it saying, well, ethically, you could say, oh, well, Jedidiah shouldn't have said that. But at the end of the day, you're right. There is no reason to actually put hands on him because he
No,
has freedom of speech to say whatever he want to
he
say.
did, and he
You know,
did. He said that when he went to her mama's house. He talked, but guess what? The police did nothing. You know why? Because there's a noise ordinance in Dolton that starts at 10 p.m. So you can peacefully protest outside of the mayor's house as long as you're not on her property, as long as you're on Dalton's property and not anybody else's personal residence. You can peacefully protest and do whatever you want outside of Tiffany Henyard's house. So therefore, he went out there, camped out, and created a ruckus. And that's what really pissed her off the most. That's why she sent Kamal after him at that meeting, because she was just fed up with him and his antics, and because she couldn't get a restraining order on him when he did it the last time. So therefore, instead of her learning how to ignore people, you want to react and retaliate. So when you reacting and retaliate, now you done ruined your political career, boo-boo. Like, I want to see Monday. I can't wait till Monday to see if this heifer show up at this meeting and try and give some excuse on why she felt it was right to jump into a man's fist fight. I can't wait to ask her that.
That is another point too, because I feel like I kind of glossed over it. I'm glad you keep making that point, because I kind of, because she jumped in there so fast and you almost visually don't see it.
Right.
You were physically there. Now, I did catch a lot of video where once the fight started, she pushed the table up and just ran back there
She
with no
was
shoes
gone.
on. And somebody
like
actually
Slash for real. Like, I wish I could run. I can't even run, but I ain't never been able to run that fucking fast. Let me tell you something.
Well, on camera, I'm telling you, I try to watch different
It
angles
was
on
like
camera.
a flash.
You on camera, it's just like, you really can't see a person.
No, even on my lap, and I had a good angle. She ran right past my camera. She ran so fast that if you don't pay attention to it, you'll miss it. It was like a big blur.
So tell me something. So you being there physically and able to see it, she runs back there. What was she actually doing? Like, did she jump? Who did she
Hitting
jump
Jed in the head with a microphone. She was hitting him. So she was saying, "Oh, I was trying to break it up." No, you weren't. How you gonna try and break it up by hitting somebody upside their head with a microphone?
Okay.
She can't tell the truth to save her life. It's so ridiculous.
And there's so many witnesses who could see that.
And so many. Listen, all of the news crews had really good footage of the fight. If you look at where they be lined up, they can angle and pan to that back area quicker than we can up front, because of the way that the township is made. So all of the news cameras had very good footage of her fighting. Of her, what I was told, I can't verify because I ain't seen it yet, but somebody got footage of her wig getting snatched off. They said somebody snatched her wig. I have not seen it, but I just want to say on this live, whoever, if you did snatch her wig off, I owe you a drink.
Good Lord.
Sorry. I'm just being honest.
Well, you know what? I'm sure with the hatred that she's built up, if anybody got close enough to do it, I'm sure somebody would have took the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, if I was physically in shape, I probably would have joined in on the Rumble when I saw her in there too. But I couldn't do it.
Well, you know what? The thing is that a mayor who's brought up that level of hatred, I feel like, because I've been watching this at least since early 2023.
Okay.
I was watching the stuff that was happening in 2022, and it was getting worse and worse and worse. And I feel like, from what I've seen, the hatred or the despise for her from residents has just gotten more and more and greater. You know what I'm saying? It's just gotten to the point where people are to the point where they're past like regular comments at the meetings. They're now at "I want to snatch the wig off your head" type of vibe. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like it's gotten that bad.
Listen, and I don't want to, like, honestly, I don't want to put physical harm on her. I just want her to be accountable for the actions that she's done within our village and within our township. I'm gonna be very honest and say that my mentality have changed a lot. And even though if I was like in my 20s, 30s, I would have probably been laid hands on her and probably been went to jail. But I'm more reserved now, and I just want her to be accountable for what she have done to the township and what she have done to the village. I know a lot of residents really, really, really want to put hands on her as well, but we're going to let the justice system do what they're supposed to do. She already done crashed out. There's no coming back from a brawl, a men's brawl.
No.
You jumped in a men's fight to protect your boo that can't fight, all because of what? Because somebody called you out your name. You're a public official. You're supposed to be able to sit there and take it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you signed up for.
And him too as the husband.
Absolutely.
He's got to take it. Well,
Absolutely.
let me ask you about Lori Lightfoot's report. Now, with Lori Lightfoot's report, so a lot of people, I was looking at a lot of the comments in Dolton Politics and other places, and a lot of people said they were underwhelmed by her last report. Now, I felt like her report, and again, I'm just speaking from my vantage point. I feel like her report was very detailed, and it gave just another picture for people who may not know. It gave somewhat of a picture of what has been happening at the
In the
township
village.
now, and in the
It's in the
village.
village, not
Excuse
the
me, I'm sorry,
township.
it's the village. My bad, the
The
village.
village of Dolton,
So
yeah.
some people are like, "Oh, it wasn't worth the money." So what do you think? Because I seem like it is, but what do you think as a resident?
So, my opinion on the Lori Lightfoot investigation was it was done thoroughly. It was done accurately as possible with the information that was provided to her. It also was done to give us any type of glimpse of where our financial standings is. You have to understand that the trustees they didn't have any access to any financial records. So for years they were begging, hey, we need this, we need that, we need this, but nothing was given to them, especially when Keith Freeman was in the role. He would not provide anything to the trustees because they knew what they were doing to underhandedly steal from our village. So with the Lori Lightfoot investigation, people are saying, well, oh, y'all overpaid. Y'all, no, we didn't. We didn't overpay. As much money as Tiffany spent on lawyers alone, it's not an overpayment. We paid for detailed information and financial findings so that way she could show, hey, the trustees voted this, the trustees voted that, the trustees voted this, the trustees voted that, but yet she spent this, she spent that, she spent this, she spent that. So it's checks and balances to everything that you do. And so her report was like more so a check and balance for the trustees to make sure that everybody see that they're not being held accountable for what Tiffany Henyard has spent. And a lot of people get mad at the investigation and what she's done, but it was thorough. In my opinion, it was done right. She gave us enough knowledge to know where we are at financially, and some of the findings she still doesn't have information or answers to. So again, she did the best that she could with what she had. And I give kudos to Keith Freeman for actually providing as much as he can possibly for her detailed report, as well as the trustees, because Tiffany Henyard was not going to give her anything. So we got to see at least a glimpse of what our financial status is right now in the township. So with my opinion, for the first report to the second report, I think she did a stellar job. I don't think that it was money wasted. And as a resident, I'm okay with paying her for what she did. The thing about Lori Lightfoot is they probably could have got somebody a little bit cheaper per hour, but look at the attention that she's getting when she do her reports. That's chess, not checkers. Remember that.
Facto. Listen,
So
that's facts.
it makes complete sense because every time Lori Lightfoot is in the mix, look at the media attention.
Yep. And I want to play something. I want to play a clip of her because, after she did it, obviously she sat down with who did she sit down with? I think she sat down with NBC,
Regina
right?
Waldrop.
Exactly, with Regina Waldrop, and I thought that was a good kind of follow up one-on-one conversation. She said some really good stuff in this interview. I want to play a little piece of it.
Okay.
Let me play this for you because this is something that I think people should kind of realize if they don't already realize. So I'm gonna play this real quick. This is a good. The people really should. This is really
Yeah.
good. This is just a section
Click
of it
a
where she
link
talks about something
in the details, and then that way people can click on that link as
for
well,
sure,
and
no
that way
doubt,
they can be able to see it.
definitely.
It's interesting you say that because Mayor Henyard is saying numerous times that people are coming after her because she is a black woman.
No, she's made a spectacle of herself. My family, my wife and I and my daughter, were in Houston last spring of 2024. My daughter had a AAU basketball tournament, and my wife and I stole away for one night to go to a local barbecue joint, but out of the the main downtown area. And it's a tiny little place. You walk in, you got to queue up, you get a tray, cafeteria style, and get your food. And as we walked in, there was a table of older gentlemen that were sitting, and they looked at me, and I thought, uh-oh, what is this going to be? So we just kind of shuffled through the line, and as we got close and I was rounding the bend, I heard somebody say, "Excuse me," and I thought I was standing in the way. So I moved out of the way, and the gentleman said, "No, no, no, don't go away." And I turned and I looked at him, and he said, "Are you going to get that, Mayor Tiffany Henyard?" Now, this is down in Houston. And then he quickly said, "But if you do, I don't know what I'm going to watch on YouTube." And in some ways it's funny, but the fact is she made a spectacle of herself, calling herself the super mayor. All this spending, which was basically like a perpetual campaign. How did that benefit the residents of Dolton? It didn't. And now they've got a big financial mess that they're going to have to dig out of. But I'm encouraged by what I've seen and heard from the residents of that town. They understand what good government is about. They understand what they should be expecting from their elected officials, but they've got to show up and vote.
Is that your message to them? Show up and vote?
You have to. I mean, you look at what happened 4 years ago in the election that made Mayor Henyard the mayor of the village. Only 9.5% of the registered voters voted. I've really never heard of a turnout that low. So I just think your vote is one of the most powerful tools in a democracy. You cannot complain about the government if you don't do your part to make sure you get a government that you actually deserve.
So that right there is like I
It's
just thought
powerful.
it's powerful. She said some other stuff too in regards to right before the beginning of that clip. She talked about how she was a little bit embarrassed or the embarrassment of a lot of what's going on in Dalton, and
Hmm.
the fact that Tiffany Henyard is black. She represents a constituency who is black, and it's unfortunate that she did all of what she did because Lori was saying that obviously she was raised in a time where you got to represent your people right, and you got to make sure that you know at a time where it was hard to get a lot of black people in positions of power. We fought to get people in positions of power, and for her to do that. So no, I was just saying that was really interesting how she talked about that, and I agree with you. I thought her report it seemed very good, and I feel like, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I feel like her report is at least groundwork. It's material that could be used by other officers who want to prosecute.
You know what? I have it. Text me your email address. I'm gonna send it over to you so you can look at like the full report as well. I
Oh,
think
okay.
she did an excellent job, and she did the best for what she can do with what she had. And I don't know what other people were expecting out of this report. I don't. I can't. I can't put into play like what their expectations was, but I feel like what we got versus what she gave is something that we never got before.
Hmm.
So we got to understand our financial findings. We don't get that right now.
But yeah, please send me that report. I love to see it. I thought it was a detailed report, like you said. And do you think it would be good material later on if she was prosecuted by another office, or do you like?
I do know that Lori Lightfoot did say that she sent that report to the feds. And from what I've been hearing, the feds can't actively come in the middle of an election.
Yes, I was going to bring that up to you.
Yeah.
And I don't know
So
if other people peep that because she said that. I didn't know that it was actually a law that they can't actually go and prosecute within 90 days of an election
Yep.
because they don't want to, the feds, they don't want to be seeming like they are swaying opinion in an election. I had no
Yep.
idea. Interesting.
Yep. So a lot of people are like, why haven't they came? Why haven't they came? Well, that, and I didn't know that. I just figured that out. So that's useful information to know because that's what we've been saying. Like, they're trying to wait. I swear, I've been saying that. They trying to wait for the elections to be over, and then they're going to come get her. I've been saying that. A lot of people are thinking that she won't go down. I honestly think that she's going to get some time. I don't know if it's a time that she deserves, but I think that she's going to get some time. So when it comes to that process, we just got to vote her out, like she said. We have to stay the course. Election day is February 25th, and just vote her out of that seat. That's our only option. And then once we get her voted out, the feds can take whatever report they got from Lori Lightfoot, and then they can put it into action. And that they already have the cancer charity, the $10,000 that Kamal Woods, Keith Freeman, her other people that worked for her were all part of that fraudulent charity. We have the $17,000 in t-shirts and hoodies that she stole. That's just, that's just taxpayers' money that you're the over $100,000 in trips, first class trips. And you taking all these people, you have not brought back any business to Dolton. She's ridiculous. And then she's like, well, people come to my meetings and they don't speak about what they need or hours being paid. Well, what are we going to talk? Why would we talk to somebody with their head down? It makes no sense because you're not listening. You're not going to answer us. You don't respect us. So why would we talk to you about the work that we need to be done? We could just hold off. You're not going to do it anyway. So we could just continuously hold off until the next people get into that seat. And then we can let them know our issues and concerns on what's going on in our neighborhood, in our community, because they care. They're going to listen.
Right.
They're going to do the work for the people. She is not out to do the work for the people. She's out for self-gratification. That's dangerous.
No, you're right. That is dangerous. And it really is. It's really crazy how far this thing has come. It really, really is.
It's like a movie.
It
Like,
really
you
is.
could never write this script.
Yeah,
You could never write this script because it is so unpredictable right now. This is just, I don't even know what's going to happen Monday. That's why I encourage everybody to come out to the board meeting Monday. Because Monday, we don't know what we're going to get. That might be the very last Tiffany Henyard meeting. We don't know. You see what I'm saying?
Well, let me ask you another side of it too. So, there's a lot of people who have come out and said, I'm embarrassed of what happened, and it makes us look bad and stuff like that. But I think that was one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation, because a lot of people don't know the context of how it got. I think the optics don't look good on
No.
everybody, but there's a lot of backstory and details that a
But
lot of
she's
people don't
such
know.
a manipulative, evil, vindictive person. A lot of people don't understand that this lady sends out death threats to her residents. She sicks her goons on us every chance she gets. She allows them to say mean and nasty things to us. And at some point, we have to just let the world know we're tired of it. People don't want us to speak out and act out, but how are we supposed to act when we're constantly getting our asses whooped by her? Basically, that's what it is. It's just abuse of power. She's abusing her residents, and she don't care about anybody and what they have to go through. As long as she gets what she wants to get. Self-gratification, that's not fair. It's not fair and it's not right. And that's why we do what we've been doing to try and out her and to get her out of government for good. Not just for, just for these roles and you can go somewhere else. No, we want her out of government for good. They should have a do not hire politician list for her. I'm serious.
No, I listen.
She should be on the do not hire political list. So when you are thinking about running, y'all look up her name, and this is the list of things that Tiffany Henyard has done, and she should never be able to go back into politics ever because she's not qualified.
I think that makes a lot. If anybody would make number one on that list, it would be her. Now there
Hello.
are some other corrupt mayors
A lot.
around the country. St. Louis mayor has a lot of heat on her right now too.
I
But
saw that too.
you know what I'm saying.
That's
But
a whole nother
that's a
topic.
whole nother show,
We need to
and
do
we
a
can
show
talk
on
about
that one
that.
too.
You know what I'm saying? But Tiffany, like you said, it's a movie because there's so. It's not just the corruption. It's like everything that you could do wrong is
You're doing
attached
it.
to this woman's name. Everything.
You're
You
doing
know what
it.
I'm saying? Now let me know one other piece before we wrap. I want to go over something, and a lot of people, if they check out the interview we did maybe a couple interviews ago,
Uh-huh.
you pointed out something really important about the Southland, not just Dalton, about a lot of corruption going on in other places.
Corruption. Oh my
And
God.
people watched Lori Lightfoot's interview, right? Now, Regina Waldrop had asked her a couple of things. Asked her one, would she want to run for something again? And she said that she doesn't want to do public office again.
Mm-hmm.
But she did reference how she was open to help other places because she was saying that this Dalton investigation was very helpful because a lot of other towns, municipalities in the Southland have been coming and start people are starting to come to her
Mm-hmm.
because there's issues. And you brought that up a while ago
Yep.
in other towns, like Harvey, for instance, and other towns, Phoenix, stuff like that, that has a lot of corruption. So
Mm-hmm.
we've talked about this where Tiffany, this whole drama with her has really opened up the eyes, I think, of a lot of citizens in other municipalities. So people should realize that it's actually happening. And I thought about you
In a lot of
when
places.
she
It's
said that.
happening more often than we know it. The thing about it is that other communities keep it more so under wraps, right? So, like, you have other communities that know how to do what they're doing and finagle a little extra, but then they're still keeping their community upheld. They're not taking the money that the residents need for their services and to, for their businesses and all of that stuff. They're not trying to hold back business license. They're not trying to do pay to play. What she's doing is criminal. What she is doing is criminal to a lot of people. But the other mayors, I mean, they have their little issues too. But outside of Clark, like, they're doing their stuff more so under wrap. Like, you
Hmm.
have the cities that are still thriving. They still are getting clean. They have their services in mind. They're not
Hmm.
missing too many beats. But
Right.
yeah, they might be doing some corruption here and there. But the way Tiffany is blatantly doing it, it makes everybody take a second look at the meetings.
Hmm.
Everybody's saying that I'm gonna start going to my township meetings. Start looking at your financial reportings. That's the biggest thing. You gotta know where the money is being spent. Those are
Yeah.
your tax dollars.
Yeah.
The police department works for us. A lot of people don't understand that our tax dollars pay for police. So we need to know how their funding and spending is going. Fire department, same thing. Remember when I told you about the firefighters and their contract? She
Yep.
took them to court to try and take it back because the trustees did it.
I remember that. I
So
remember you told me
it's
that.
like
Yeah.
a lot of things that people don't understand what's going on inside their government because they just like, okay, I'm just keep paying my taxes and just keep living. Keep
Yeah.
paying my taxes and keep living. No, you need to start investigating stuff that's going on in your area because there's corruption everywhere. It might not be as brazen as what Tiffany is doing, but
Yeah.
it's damn near everywhere. It's not too many places where you can go right now where people are not trying to get political gain and pad people's pockets so they can get to that next level. And that's what Tiffany was doing. She failed
Yeah.
tremendously, but that's what she was trying to do. If she was a little smarter, she probably would have got away with it, but she's not bright.
You
She's
know what? You got that right. You got that right because it is so brazen. It's like, damn, you can't help but to see it. It's so obvious.
hello.
You know what I'm saying? And you're so right. I really think that at this point, I mean, like I said, anything you could do wrong is attached to her. It's like the crash out of all crash outs. I never seen
Listen,
anything like that.
I really think that girl has a substance abuse problem. Allegedly, I can't confirm it, but I really think that she is on some type of substance, and I'm really praying for her because She just won't stop. I think she want to keep doing crime so the feds won't hurry up and kick in her doors. Because you know that they're building a case and a case and a case. And every time you do something dumb, it just helps them further on their investigation.
Mm-hmm.
So with her continuously doing dumb stuff and not doing what she's supposed to do, they like, oh, well, we don't have to come right now. We don't have to come right now. They're allowing you to continuously do this dumb shit. So when it is time for you to get your indictments, you're going to pay for all this dumb stuff you continuously still doing. Why won't she stop? I don't get it.
You're right. The feds are very patient.
Very.
The feds are the most patient.
They're so patient
group, man. They can sit there for like 5 years and be like, let's just sit and wait for
Who knew that Lil Durk was under investigation?
Yeah, listen.
For all of these years.
Listen, the feds ain't got no problem waiting it out. They'll just sit back, you know.
I did not get that. I missed all of that. And like all of a sudden he indicted for murder. Like what? So yeah, they're very patient. They like let this dude travel, do shows and all this other stuff, and had all this evidence mounted against him, and then they just came in and whoop, we finna snatch it right now. Like
100%. That's what they do. You know, and yeah, I don't even know. It's like you said. I mean, you had said this before that maybe she has some type of mental issue, but it's not that far fetched anymore after seeing all this stuff.
No. And remember when she came into the township, one of the first things she did was close all of the mental health facilities that we had that were free. I don't know if you remember, but they used to get free counseling throughout the township. So you can get it for as couples, you can get it for personal, or you can get it for your children. Okay. So they used to have free counseling at the township because I actually went before and got counseling there. So when she came in, that was one of the first things she did was close out counseling. But then she was trying to put a mental health bill on one of the votes for people to vote for so she could get more money for the township. Everybody voted that down. Then nobody. Why would we want to spend extra money for a mental health bill when you came in and closed all of the mental health facilities? That makes absolutely no sense. That shows you that we're not dealing with somebody with a full deck of cards. Because why do you think that makes sense when you already had it inside of the township? Like they had their own room inside of the township where you could go and actually get services. Yeah, you fired all of them.
Wow. So yeah, all I can say is wow. I mean, so swinging it back quickly to the Brawl. I mean, we already went over that, but the Brawl is they going to fire? Not fire. Is he going to file charges?
I'm sure he have already. Jed is he's very articulate when it comes to the law and his rights and what to do. I did see somebody sent me a live. I watched it briefly, but he was at the police station and he was trying to get a police report and they were denying him his rights to get the police report. And remember, Tiffany hit him. So he had every right to file a report against Henyard because of the way that she came and attacked Jed. It doesn't matter what he said. You should not have put your hands on that man. Yeah. You're supposed to just walk away and just, hey, take it with a grain of salt. But you're not supposed to run and attack and hit him in his head with a microphone because that's assault.
He has the benefit of footage, and I'm sure that he has footage. All those different angles. It's crazy.
All those footages. So he did. I'm sure he's going to file a lawsuit. And remember, they just got insurance that day for that day. Remember that. Remember, we technically didn't have insurance, and then Trustee Gonzalez had spoken, said we made sure that we got insurance for today. Now, mind you, remember that on my camera when that man fell, I'm sure he hurt himself. So that's a lawsuit right there in itself because of the melee.
You know, you're so right. It's another part people don't think about as a public official for her to get up there. Even if she started to run, she could have knocked somebody over.
Absolutely.
And someone could be suing the township for that. So it's...
Somebody fell. Like, if you look at my live, the guy fell when he was trying to go and, like, trying to see what was going on down there. And he actually, I don't know, they said Tiffany pushed him over. I can't confirm or deny that. But it happened so fast because I was backing up, and if you see on my footage when I was backing up, he fell and hit the ground.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. So next we got. I'm not going to hold you forever. You know, what I'm saying this is just next. Next we have the regular Dolton board meeting that is on Monday.
Yes, it's
Okay.
Monday, the February 3rd at 6:30. And
Wow.
that's going to be a super interesting board meeting. I am going to be happy to be there in front with my Clean House 2025 sweater
I
on.
love it.
I
I
had to
love it.
wear it today for this interview.
Yeah, yeah. I
And I
run.
just want, can I say one thing?
Please.
That fight, I know that everybody is saying that most of the people were there from Dolton and it's a reflection of Dolton. And I just want to say to everybody that's listening to me, I understand the correlation that y'all think because of Tiffany Henyard being the mayor of Dolton. But please understand that was a township thing because Kamal Woods worked for the township. Kamal Woods didn't work for the village of Dolton. You have to understand that fight ensued because of her married boyfriend. It had no correlation with Dolton trustees or anything. Yes, she is the mayor of Dolton, but that was all distractions from Thornton Township. It had nothing to do with the business at hand and what the trustees are doing and the clerk for the village of Dolton. We're still fighting against her, but we're also fighting against her for the township. What just happens is that the residents come out in large amounts just to make sure that we speak out against her and her corruption. And she happened to be corrupt in the village of Dolton as well as in Thornton Township. So we have our rights to voice our opinions. We come out in numbers. We do that on purpose because we want to show everybody that we are serious about getting our village back as well as getting our township back. So a lot of people are putting a negative light on, this Dolton drama, I'm sick of Dolton. No, you're sick of Tiffany Henyard. It's a big difference. It's two government bodies. It's one person in control of both government bodies, and that's Tiffany Henyard. So I understand that they're saying, well, Dolton this and Dolton that, because Dolton's been on the news for years. But that was not a Dolton issue. Kamal Woods never worked for Dolton, and that was drama in the township, not in the village of Dolton. Just like to say that.
Well, no, listen, that's a mic drop right there, and I'm glad you clarified that because there's a lot of people talking about that. So, I know, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on my channel, dropping the jewels, and everybody, of course, if you aren't already subscribing to your favorite survivor, go and
Please do.
subscribe to her page. She's dropping all kinds of great information. It's lit.
Please do.
It's lit over there. So go subscribe. I'll put a link to her page under this video, of course. And listen, I appreciate your time
Yes.
as always,
No,
Vivian.
thank you.
Like, this is it's not just a story, but it's what people are living, and
Absolutely.
you residents, again, it's a real fight. Y'all have y'all regular lives going on, but you showing up to meetings. And
We have
to
no
me,
choice.
yes. And
We
regardless of what
have
people
to build a better
say,
government.
100%, regardless of what criticism people might say, y'all are actually showing up. A lot of people don't show up after work. People want to go home. They want to chill. They want to sleep.
Chill.
They don't want
Yeah.
to go to. Y'all are going to the meetings. It's not just entertainment. It's
And listen,
really
with me and
real.
my health issues, it's challenging. You know what I go through, so it's
Yeah.
challenging sometimes for me to get up and go to these meetings. These meetings wear me out. That last meeting, I was out yesterday all day. I was supposed to get up and go to my therapy and all that. I didn't even do anything yesterday. So these meetings can become draining, but I go because I am always going to represent my village of Dolton and my township because that's what I'm supposed to do. So I appreciate you saying that and letting the residents know that you see us because we want to make sure that people understand that this movement that we've started has not been easy. We've been fighting for 4 years. I'm going to continuously say that for 4 years now. And it has not been easy. And so, well, almost 4 years. Let me not say 4 years, but almost 4 years. And it has not been easy. So again, I appreciate you for seeing everyone's hard work and dedication to the village of Dolton. I just want to say thank you to the residents that come out all the time. It's so many that I don't want to forget names, but I gave everybody a kudos last time. I just wanted to say thank y'all for everybody continuously doing what y'all doing. And it's almost over. We just got to vote her out.
100%, 100%. Well, I appreciate you, Viv, as always. I will talk to you shortly.
All right.
Business, and we'll talk shortly.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Bye.